Hey guys, Spazzy Dragon here, aka Syndromes. Welcome back to Avorion, and sit down. Let's have a bit of a relaxing episode today. This is not going to be completely directly related to our Let's Play, and instead, I wanted to show you something interesting. We are going to make a new character, we're going to make a new galaxy, call it something. Going to go in creative mode and set the difficulty to beginner. So, the cool thing about Avorion, and one of the best things about this game, is that if you choose to build on your ship, if you manage to get your head around the slightly not so intuitive building mechanics, you will start making ships that build on the previous versions of these ships as time goes on. We're about 36 episodes in at the time recording this video, and one of the most amazing thing I have found to do during my first Let's Play, well, not Let's Play, my first playthrough anyway, was to kind of take a look at where I was at the start and where I was at the end. So, in this creative mode, you can create ships without any need for resources, everything's maxed out. And I'm going to import our current Discovery ship, for the sake of this video for now. And the thing that I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to buy myself some crew. About 600 of them, actually. Something like this. Let's hire these people. I'm gonna quickly double check. Okay, we don't have enough commanders, but we can easily fix that by visiting a naval shipyard. Or not a naval shipyard. Actually, I'm gonna quickly check which one. I think I can get it from a military outpost, but yeah, that actually looks like the case. This is not necessarily what I need right now. Don't worry about it. The reason why I wanted to create the ship is to kind of show you the perspective of this game a little bit better. Avorion does a lot of things right, but one of the things that I cannot transfer to you as a consumer of a Let's Play is how the progression feels from the perspective of someone who creates the ships and then flies them. Because if I could, this game would be so much more appealing to you to watch. So what I'm going to do right now is compare how we got here in the first place. I'm going to move out of the way so we're not disturbed by any pirate raids or something like that. And I'm going to start by simply kind of creating all of the progression, well, within reason all of the progression we had since the first ship that we made as the Discovery. So Avorion does a thing where it autosaves every single reasonable modification you do to a ship, and it stores it in the ship autosave folder. Now what I've did just now was to... what the fuck was that? I don't know. The game decided to glitch out on me a little bit. But what I decided to do was simply move all of the Discovery related ships into a separate folder. And now what we can do is go back and see how it began and how these ships compare over time to what we're currently flying as this little behemoth over here. Now, this episode is obviously not related to the Let's Play, but I'm going to, record the next episode right now after this video. As soon as I'm done recording this video. But I think that this might be it might be interesting for you to watch. If not, well, you can just, close this video and just switch to the next episode. Anyway, I think this is far away. We are way outside of the reach of all of the other things in the system. And what I'm going to do is park my ship right here. And we don't even need that thing just now, so I'm going to go into the build mode on the ship without being inside of it. I'm going to uncheck the safe mode, and I'm just going to delete the ship, leaving us in a drone sitting right here. And I'm going to start the ship named 1. I'm going to open up the save designs. I'm going to go to Let's Play, and I'm going to find the very first ship that we have, and I think it was this thing. Or so it seems to be one of the first designs. So, as you might remember, we bought a pre-made ship, and it was actually, I think it was named something else, but I'm not exactly sure. I would have to go back to the first episode. It's easier for you to do than me. And the only modification that we did was add these two things that, well, in retrospect, it kind of made it look like a Star Destroyer from the Star Wars, you know, Star Wars plays. It was a neat idea. It just... It's always fun to see where, after a few weeks of this Let's Play, I can go back and remember, oh right, I actually bought this thing from a NPC shipyard. So, let's create a second one, and we're going to do the same thing, but let's see an upgraded version. This is where we started to put in some decoration in these ships. So we added a glowy cockpit for some reason, but overall it was just basically the same ship, so I'm just going to put it right here next to the other one. Obviously without a crew these things will move terribly, terribly slowly. Not to be fair, as they should be. There we go. Looks like we did recolor it as well. But that looks like most of the stuff that was actually done with it. Let's go. I was considering doing this before recording the video, but I thought that maybe, well, it should be done a little bit better. So, there we go. This is a older design. So this Discovery actually had a much more comprehensible cockpit made out of glass instead of, you know, bright glowing thing. We added some antennae that we later abandoned. We added some antenna there. And obviously we also started to place down things like titanium generators. And we did everything to make this thing a little bit more reasonable, and I can already feel the difference. Even without a crew, this thing feels a little bit more maneuverable. So there you are, Discovery Mark III. So these are very minor changes, and obviously the game autosaves the ships every single time you do any amount of you know, adjustment to it. So with that in mind, let's take a look at something that is a lot later on. And you can already see that we started adding many things at the same time. Like, look at the size of this titanium generator. This was probably once I added the system that allowed me to move faster and also drain my energy a lot. You can also see there's a lot more crew quarters on this thing. We added more additional thrusters to make the ship a little bit more maneuverable, which it isn't now. But hey, at least the vertical thrust is much better on this thing than the previous versions. And you can see this gradual kind of progression. So, with that in mind, I think the next one is actually going to be the one that became the very start of the... yeah, there we go. So, this is where we clad everything with armor. And not only that, but we also added the much more advanced engine compartment. We made the ship a lot more maneuverable and much more speedy. And the whole point of this video is that we can actually put these ships side by side, and you can see how very similar they are in every sense of the word, because if... I'm going to adjust my camera in just a moment. You can already see that, like, even the coloration is the same between the models, and we can see which parts we kind of ended up tacking on, apart from the armor, obviously. But yeah, having armor is great, and adding that armor was a good call, if I do say so myself. But at least now I also know how many versions we kind of need to jump forward to make this thing a little bit more expedient. So I think the next versions were just applying colors. And it was only after we got to the Neonite section where we started building ships with shields. And obviously that required us to build up the ship itself a little bit more, change the layout of the armor a little bit. Just so you know, I didn't rewatch my own Let's Play before I recorded this, so if you just binged watch it, you probably remember something that I don't at this point. But yeah, this was when I added all the spikes, and this basically became the Thanos of the Let's Play. And if I'm not completely mistaken that this might have been... Let me double check that. It might have been actually... Yeah, this is the Discovery 2122. This is not yet the Discovery Model 2, by the way. Like, we're not there just yet. And if I remember correctly, that might actually be the next one. So, let's make the 7th ship. And let's find the Discovery 2. Oh yeah, okay. So somewhere along the way, we ended up expanding on the engine and, well, pretty much everything, actually. So this whole thing just, well, perhaps not doubled, but we basically added not only the torpedo compartment, which I will admit is still underutilized to this date, but you can see how we expanded on it. And this is also the moment where we started adding more turrets, so I had to place down those little turret blocks in front of us. But this is where we hit Trinium, it looks like, because we're using Trinium engines. And... yep. And you can see, the thing that I really wanted to show you in this video is how the size changes, because it's not as apparent when you watch it, it's more apparent when you drive the freaking thing. Then you feel the change and everything else. And over here, this is our last version of the original Discovery as it became known as the basis for the Neon Leon and the Miata Pinata. We changed the top, we added more crew quarters to it, we made it much more durable in many cases, and one of the last things we did was, I think we pretty much replaced everything we could with Trinium at the time to just make this thing as tough as it could, and, well, tanky for its tier, anyway, if you can call it a tier. But yeah, this was the whole evolution of what was Discovery 1. And of course, we know what happened after that. That really sounded very Irish kind of accent. But hey, why stop there? Let's go for 9. Thankfully, everything after that is a little bit easier because I know where it stops. For example, I'm not going to include these because this was the work in progress when we started off on the Discovery 2. And what we need to find is the one that is called Discovery 2.0. So this is where I actually called it finished and renamed it to the Discovery 2. And what I'm gonna try to do is kind of keep the middle of the ship, like the core of the ship, in the same place, so we can compare the sizes a little bit more easily. Something like this. So you can sort of see where the Discovery 1 ends and where the Discovery 2 starts. But obviously, we didn't sell this for a while because I did add those hangar bays, but obviously I didn't have an assembly, nor did I use any fighters, so that was a waste of trinium. So let's go to our 10th ship, and we are going to go and find the one that we adjusted a little bit. This was one of the... Yeah, there we go. So this was the... I guess this was the revision 1.2, where we basically just remove the hangar bays. Oop. You know, I miss it being so fucking agile. I actually miss it being so agile. It's like this even without a crew, which makes it, you know, slow as dicks. And after that... Was it 11? Yes, it was. Take a look, and... So we are looking for Discovery 3-1. Which we apparently don't have. So I guess we just need to use this one. I guess it's a mistake that I color these, like I name it after, or sorry, I name this thing before I actually get a chance to color it. So the actual Discovery 3 looks kind of janky. But at least it's easy enough to see where I went with this design. I instantly just, I pretty much build downwards. Was it a good thematic change for it? No, not really. It looks like a pregnant whale. But, well, there you go. Let's go for the 12th. And we are going to go as far as this thing. I would say this is the actual Discovery 3. Something like this. Yeah, there we go. Many of these changes to the ship itself were basically removing many of the old parts. That's why it kind of duplicates many of them, or it seems like it's a duplicate, but actually it's just the internal components being changed, such as iron or titanium being replaced with whatever. So, over here we have the fully adult Mark III. And I guess we're gonna do two more. So one is going to be... Oh, this is the original 3. Why is it over there? Well, not really sure. I want to find where I named it the Discovery 4. I see a Discovery 4-3. Okay, this is the Discovery 4. Like, this is the original toucan beak thing. Which is just basically the 3 with added stuff to it. You know, it doesn't really look that janky anymore. I really hated it, how I attached it at first. But, yeah. And the last one, 16, loaded up. And it is going to be this thing. So this is the one that I'm currently using in my Let's Play. This thing was just to get myself home faster. I didn't want to do the extra jump where we found that one wormhole, which was almost within the range of my jump to the next one, but not exactly. And that's why I added this thing. But yeah. Well, what can I say, guys? It was a long way to go. And just to drive things home, I'm going to make a 5. I'm going to go right the hell back to Discovery 1. Like, it's not even a Discovery 1, it's more like a Discovery 0. And so, to put things into perspective, this thing is somewhere inside there. I'm gonna put it right up to its side and let you figure it out for yourself. So yeah, guys, 26 episodes later, and we are here. We have went from this to that, and it's only going to get bigger from here. I'm very glad for those of you who stuck around with me. This is probably the longest Let's Play to date that I've actually continued, and I'm still having fun. So, if you're having fun, if you like these videos, keep giving them a thumbs up. I will know that you like watching these things. And I'm going to continue until I reach either the end of the game itself, until I reach the center, or until I figure out that you guys are a little bit tired of this game, and, well, I guess we'll figure out what to do after that. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. This was a big trip so far. I'm going to go record the next episode. This is Spazzy Dragon, aka Syndromes. Fly safe.